morning, students. So we have our math work here for Monday, November 19th. So we are on page 39 and we are going to learn how to multiply mixed numerals. But to multiply mixed numerals, you have to change them first into improper fractions and then multiply. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So here, after you're done with your review exercises and speed drills, we're going to start on our samples. And you may notice here on number 4, it actually tells you to change a mixed numeral to an improper fraction. So you may have to wait until after this little lesson to be able to do number 4 here. So here in your example, they actually show you a little on how a mixed numeral changes to an improper fraction to multiply, but it doesn't quite give you the steps that you need to know how to change this to this. So I'm going to show you that by doing sample 1 and 2 with you. So here on sample 1, we have 1/2 times 2 1/2, but we can't multiply that in this way. We have to multiply it using an improper fraction, and the way to do that is this one stays the same because it's already a proper common fraction, but here what you're going to do to change this mixed numeral into an improper fraction is you're going to multiply the whole number by the denominator and then add the numerator. And this is going to become much easier as you keep doing them. So here we would do 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 1 is 5. And you would put that 5 as the numerator and then 2 again as the denominator. So just to go over it, you would do, let me get a smaller pen to be able to show you a little better. You multiply the whole number and the denominator first. And then after you do that, you add the numerator. So we did 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So that's how we got the 5, and the denominator stays the same. Now we're ready to multiply. And since this problem can't be simplified, it's already simplified to the lowest form, we can multiply now. 1 times 5 is 5. Over 4, because 2 times 2 is 4. And now we're left with an improper fraction as the solution. But we should change this back to a mixed numeral, which we've been doing for a while. So you would just do the normal method to change an improper fraction into a mixed numeral. So we just do quickly 4 into 5 once, and then 4 gives you 1, and you would have 1 and 1/4. So you would actually be able to change this into 1 and 1/4. So I took out a piece of notebook paper just to go over sample 1 one more time, just in case. So again, we have 1/2 times 2 and 1/2. We have to change this mixed numeral into an improper fraction first. So remember, we multiply the whole number by the denominator and then add the numerator. Again, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So then 5 becomes the numerator. The denominator stays the same. We bring down our proper fraction and we are ready to multiply. 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 2 is 4, and now we change this improper fraction back to a mixed numeral, which gives us 1 and 1/4. And here for sample 2, we have 2 mixed numerals that we need to change into an improper fraction first. So let's do it here. So we have a little larger and easier. So we're going to change 1 and 1/4 into an improper fraction. You're going to multiply the whole number by the denominator and add the numerator. So 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5. The denominator stays the same. Over here, 1 times 5 is 5, plus 1 is 6. The denominator stays the same. Now you're ready to multiply. 5 times 6 is 30. 4 times 5 is 20. However, I didn't write them down because it's much better to simplify these fractions first so that you do not end up with a much too large fraction. So going back to our lessons from last week, let's try and simplify this problem before we find the solution. So here we can find the greatest common factor of 4 and 6, which would be 2. 2 is the largest number that fits evenly into 4 and into 6. So we can say, how many times does 2 fit into 4? Well, twice, so we can cross this out and change it to a 2. How many times does 2 fit into 6? 3. We cross this out, change it to a 3. Our 5s fit evenly into each other, so we can cross them out and put 1, just like we did in last week's lesson. Now we have a much simpler fraction to solve. 1 times 3 is 3 over 2. And then we can easily change 3 over 2, this improper fraction, into a mixed number. And if you don't already know how to change the improper fractions to a mixed number in your head, just remember you divide the denominator into the numerator, and we have 1.5. And just a reminder, when you turn in your math assignments, either your responses go under the problem or the answer column. However, if you're not showing your work in your book, please submit your worksheet. I want to see how you worked out each problem, how you got to your improper fractions and your mixed numerals. So here for our language arts assignment for Monday, November 16th. So what we're going to be doing today is using our reference pages from last week, where we learned our personal pronouns. And here are subjective, objective, and possessive cases. So this is why it was very important that you follow the lesson on these reference pages, because we're going to be using them quite a bit this week. Especially these little boxes and columns that include examples of subjective, objective, and possessive pronouns. So here on page 68, for Think A, what you will do is place a check by each word which is correctly spelled, a correctly spelled possessive pronoun. And the way to check them is to use your little key here. So here we have some possessive case pronouns, and this is the way they're spelled. Notice that there are not many apostrophes here, so keep a lookout whether or not the word needs an apostrophe. Not all of them do. So once you put a check mark by each correctly spelled pronoun, you will then underline all of the personal pronouns, circle the subjective pronouns, and then box the objective pronouns. Now that seems like a lot, but all you have to do is go back to your reference page. Your reference page will have a column with the subjective case pronouns and the objective case pronouns right here. We have here a few, and we have them here as well. So you're going to have to flip back quite a bit, finding those subjective and objective pronouns. Make sure that you're following the right directions, underlining all of them. So first you're going to underline all of the personal pronouns, circle the subjective case ones using the key, boxing the objective case ones using the key. Then here you're going to actually write your own. So you're going to use these words, Some of them are people, some of them are animals. You're going to use the correct subjective, objective, and possessive pronoun. So just as an example, here it says Mr. Simmons. What you're going to do is go back to your reference sheet and find your subjective pronoun. So here, if we're talking about Mr. Simmons, for subjective, you would write he. Go back. Objective. Go back to objective. Him. Then possessive. His. The same goes for the rest. If you see that it is a thing, an animal, then you would write it. And then you would see it, its. So you're going to be using your reference pages a lot. Use them. Don't guess because they're right here available to you. If you guess, I'm going to send it back because you have so many examples here. Once you're done with page 68, for Tuesday's lesson, we're actually just going to continue on this subject called which case. So as I go on to Tuesday, the directions stay the same. So on Tuesday, I will probably just send you back to this lesson to go over and reinforce any of the concepts. So here we have our list 13 spelling assignments, starting with our pattern words. I'm going to go over our pattern words, content words, and vocabulary words so that you can listen to the way they're pronounced. You will notice that our pattern words are actually homophones. Homophones are words that sound the same but have different meanings and spellings. This is going to be very important because you can't just listen, you have to read along with me to help identify the differences. So for our pattern words, you'll notice that we have pairs of words that sound the same but mean different things. And you're going to need to know this to be able to do your exercise of the day. So for our pattern words 1 through 12, we have mist, mist, sweet, sweet, guest, guest, prophet, prophet, horse, horse, presence, presence. There's no difference in the way these pairs sound, but the meanings are completely different. So here you're going to write the pattern words, sorting them. And the first exercise is simple because it doesn't have much to do with the meanings. You're only classifying them by their syllables. The pairs of words that have one syllable go in this column, or actually not this column, 1 through 8. So make sure you are paying attention to the number. And then there are only 2 pairs here. So that means 4 words, 2 pairs in this list that have 2 syllables, and you're going to put them here from numbers 9 through 12. Then for our content words section, the words are kelp, nucleus, aquatic, plant-like, seaweed, ecosystem, photosynthesis. You're going to use these content words to fill in these spaces, completing this exercise. As usual, you have your first letter hints here. Please use the back of the book to find the meanings of your words. My suggestion is to find the meaning of all of these words because you're going to have to tell the difference between these pairs throughout the week. Either way, you're going to have to find the definition. My suggestion is you find them first. For our vocabulary words, which will be our exercise for Wednesday, we have here, what is it, Wednesday or Tuesday? Tuesday. For tomorrow, you have a vocabulary exercise. The The words are accessible, secede, fraction, infraction. As usual, I recommend finding the meaning for these words too. It's just going to help you complete the exercises without having to go back and forth into the back of the book. So just a reading reminder, if you notice on your lesson plans, we are alternating our days with our Shakespeare practice. So we are going to be continuing on the passage of A Midsummer Night's Dream, that long passage. We're going to be adding to it. Make sure that you are memorizing your lines. And then here for Bridge to Terabithia, we are finishing chapter 4 and then going on to chapter 5. So please join us at 11 o'clock and then for math one-on-one thereafter.